Elementor just released version 3.33 beta for testing, and it introduces a lot of cool features, one of which is the Custom CSS for version 4 editor. So in today's video, I will show you all the features that have been introduced on a WordPress.com website. Before we dive in, did you know that I actually didn't know that you could use Elementor or any other plugin on a WordPress.com hosting website? I had a friend who I was working with, teaching him about web design, and all of the time we're always using full site editing. So I thought WordPress.com only did full site editing, but to my surprise, WordPress.com handles Elementor quite beautifully. So now let's jump right in. To get started with Elementor on your WordPress.com hosted website, simply head over to Plugins and then Add Plugin. Then search for Elementor, hit Enter, and you get to see Elementor. Then you simply go ahead and install and activate. Then you can go through the process of setting up Elementor, continue with the Hello theme or the Hello Bees theme if you want. I can skip that for now. I'll just keep every other thing. And then I'll edit a blank canvas. So now we have Elementor installed. Next, I'll go ahead and install an Elementor compatible theme. So head over to Appearance and then Themes and search for the Hello theme. You can either go for the Hello theme or the Hello Bees theme. If you're going to be using Elementor Pro and you want to customize everything yourself, then I will advise you just go for the Hello theme. And we'll go ahead and activate it. Finally, if you want more control, then we can go ahead and install Elementor Pro. If you haven't purchased a license for Elementor Pro yet, then you can head over to elementor.com and check under the pricing section, under the Page Builder Pro plugin. Then you can go ahead and choose the plan that is right for you. Once you're happy with the plan and you've gone ahead and set up your account, you can go to my.elementor.com and download the latest version of Elementor Pro. Once you've done that, you can now head over back to your WordPress website and head over to Plugins, Add Plugin, and you upload a new plugin. Then you simply drag in the downloaded zip file. It will go ahead and install the plugin. Once that's completed, you can now head over to Elementor and license. Then you go ahead and connect and activate your license. That's it. You now have Elementor and Elementor Pro installed. If you want to test out the beta features of Elementor, make sure you're doing this on a staging site. Then all you have to do is simply head over to Elementor and then Tools. Then go under Version Control and choose that you want to become a beta tester. So change it from Disable to Enable and save changes. Once that's done, then all you have to do is head over to your dashboard and Updates. And you should see a new update popping up. So we now have an update for Elementor and Elementor Pro. If you want to follow along with all the Elementor latest updates, then I will encourage you to check out the Elementor GitHub page. So let's check it out, and then we'll try out some of the new features that have been added into Elementor version 3.33 beta. The highlights include updates to Editor v4, which are a variable manager. We have Custom CSS for Pro users. We have blend mode. Then we can now import and export media in our website templates. And there's a refreshed top bar layout. We also have more features included. And you can go ahead and read through the document. The link will be in the description. So now let's go ahead and just test out some of these new features in our own Elementor website. So I'll head over back to my Elementor site. Then I'll head over to Elementor and then Settings. Then I'll head over to Features first and make sure that all of the important features are updated. Then we'll go over to Editor v4 and we'll go ahead and activate the new v4 experience. And we are good to go. The first feature we'll take a look at is the Variables Manager, which provides a centralized management system for all of our variables. So our color, typography, and sizes variable. How do we access it? You can head over to your page and then click on one of the version 4 elements and can go ahead and click on any of the elements that has the variable. It will give us the variable pop-up, and at the top right hand corner you see a cog icon, which is the variable manager. When you click on it, it then gives you access to all of the variables that you've created. You can go ahead and rearrange them if you want so that you can make them organized. You can search for a variable, you can delete a variable, edit a variable, as well as create a new variable. So let's say I want to create a new font variable, and say that will be my heading font. We can now go ahead and double click to access the value, and then now I can click on the drop down and choose the font for my heading. So I can see maybe Sora. So now I've created a new variable. I can go ahead and save changes and close the variable manager. So now if I want to access that variable, I can come to any of my elements, so maybe my heading element. Then I'll go under the typography, and under the font family, I can click on the variables and choose my new variable, which was the heading font, and we get our heading font. The next feature is something that we've all been excited about, and that is the custom CSS for the version 4 elements. Let's take a look. So we now have the custom CSS for the version 4 elements, and it contains element level isolation. So your custom CSS applies only to the selected element with no global overrides or conflicts. You can also apply it to your classes. So let's go ahead and test it out. So I'll go back to my page, and let's say I want to apply some custom CSS to my heading. So we'll go under the Style tab and then head over to the bottom, and you see Custom CSS. And now you see within the brackets, there's now element.style. That now tells us I want to style that specific element. And we can give it any kind of style like color, red. And we have our red color. And it also has some nice linting, so we can easily see exactly what we are applying to the element. I can say something like font weight should be 900, and so on. So you can apply any kind of custom CSS, and let's go ahead and test it out on the front end and see how the CSS is applied on the front end. So right now I'm applying it to the local style. So go ahead and preview on the front end, and you can inspect. It is applied the same way as our other element styles. So you can see the .elementor.e. Let's try it out with seeing if it overrides what we already have on the page. So let's go back to our typography and under text color, and let's apply a different color. So the custom CSS overrides the UI CSS. So let's go ahead and publish and see what's the difference on the front end. So on the front end, as you can see, it is still applied to the same class, but the only thing is that the one from the UI is applied first, and then the custom CSS that we applied is applied after. So that now overrides whatever we applied first in the UI. But basically, everything is now combined together to form the CSS for the element. We can also apply the CSS to a class. So let's say for my wrapper class, I'll go over to my wrapper class and go over to the custom CSS, and I can apply some custom CSS to the wrapper class. I'll say maybe I want the background to be pink. And see we get a pink background for our global class, and I can apply that class to any other element that I want. So let's go ahead and create a new container. So I'll apply a div block into the add widget area, and then I can add another block into it. And let's go ahead and try and add that style again. So I'll add the wrapper class, and the CSS is applied even to the next class that we created. And if you go under the custom CSS, you'd see the exact CSS that we applied. So we can always edit the CSS from anywhere we applied the class. So that is the custom CSS, and that's something I'm really excited about, because sometimes you want to write some custom CSS that are not in the UI. It's always good to apply it in a nice uniform way. And the next feature we can take a look at is the blend mode, which you can find under the effects section. So So if you go over to your page and let's say you want to add a blend mode for the image on the background. So now that I have the image highlighted, I'll go under the style tab and down to the effects panel. And there we can now apply our effects. And the effect we want to apply is the blend mode. So I'll click on the drop down for the blend mode. And there are different options. You can do multiply, you can do screen, and so on. We also now have more support for dynamic tags within the atomic elements in Editor V4. And that's a welcome improvement. And if you have a plugin like dynamic shortcodes as well, that also now works within the Elementor editor. So that's a big plus for me. So let's test it out. So here we are back on our page. Let's say I want to get the page title. Just click on the element you want and then click on the dynamic tag. And you see there's now more options for dynamic tags, including things like the shortcode. And you can always search for it. So you can search for shortcode. You see we have shortcodes, and if you have dynamic shortcodes, it also appears there. So I'll test it out with dynamic shortcodes. And I'll go ahead and click on the settings. And I can access my dynamic shortcodes. Here I can say something like the post title. And I get my post title. If you don't want to use dynamic shortcodes or you don't have dynamic shortcodes, you can use any of the other dynamic tags that are available to you. So like the title. You can see post title. And we get the same thing. So now we have more options. So things are getting better. And yeah, that's a welcome improvement because I like using dynamic data a lot in my pages. So let me know what features you like in Elementor Editor V4 currently and what you're looking forward to. One of the things I'm looking forward to is an improvement in the variables themselves, because right now the variables, we can't use custom units. So we cannot apply some custom units to our variables. So that's something I would like them to improve. And you can go ahead and get started with WordPress.com. Like I said, I didn't know before that you could use Elementor on WordPress.com, but now I know. So I'm going to be testing out more in my future videos. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.